Capricorn, Aquarius, have you ever felt like you understand the rules of life, but deep down, you know, some of the rules were never meant for you? One part of you wants security, structure, and something solid to build, but another part of you looks at the world and thinks there has to be another way. If you are a Capricorn, Aquarius, CUSP, you may be the person who can follow the rules when they make sense. But the moment they stop making sense, something inside you says, I'm not doing this just because everyone else does. And here's the interesting part is, you're not here just to rebel. You're here to build something better. Hey, this isn't a prediction. This is your Capricorn, Aquarius soul blueprint. A deeper look in at who you are and why you think the way you do. Your hidden strengths, your shadow, and the part of yourself that you may still be learning to understand. Welcome in my Capricorn, Aquarius, CUSP soul. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting that like button. So Capricorn is about structure. It understands responsibility, discipline, patience, and the importance of building something that can actually last. Then the Aquarius comes along and asks, but why are we doing it this way? That's the fascinating tension inside the Capricorn, Aquarius cusp, right? That you can respect tradition while also questioning it. You can understand responsibility while desperately needing freedom. You can be practical and yet have ideas that other people might think you completely unconventional. You might maybe have spent much of your life feeling slightly different from other people around you, right? Not necessarily because you want to be different. It's sometimes that you simply couldn't pretend to believe something that didn't make sense to you. Maybe you've been told that maybe you think too much or you're too independent. You should just do what everyone else is doing. Why can't you just leave things alone? Right? But here you are sitting and thinking, but why? Because that's one of the biggest Capricorn Aquarius questions, is the why. Why should something continue simply because it always been done that way? Why should success have only one definition? Why should you live according to someone else's timeline? And yet Capricorn is still inside you saying, okay, but if we're going to change it, let's make sure that we build something that actually works. And that's where your power lies. You're not simply the rebel, and you're not simply the traditionalist, right? You're the person who can look at an old structure and say, this worked once, but maybe we can build something better now. So today, beautiful souls, we're going to dive deeper into the your personality traits, all right? Looking at the soul behind the cusp. And let's have a look what Spirit has to say, all right? So diving into your first card here, your soul essence, we have the eagle, number 16, all right? The 16th could be a significant date. Perhaps even the number 7 could be significant. This is your message from Spirit that describes the unique soul of you, my Capricorn, Aquarius cusp. The eagle is incredibly fitting because the eagle doesn't stay at ground level. It rises, right? It gains perspective. It sees the small details without losing sight of the bigger picture. And that is such a Capricorn, Aquarius quality, right? Capricorn can look at the details. What needs to be done? Aquarius can look at the bigger picture and say, where are we going? So put them together and you actually have someone who can potentially see both. You might notice things that other people overlook. You may walk into situations and immediately see, this is the real problem, while everyone else is so focused on the surface issue. You might also be the person who can step back emotionally and look at a situation from another perspective. You know, sometimes people think you're detached, but you're not necessarily detached, you're observing, you're trying to understand the whole picture before you decide what something means to you. Like the eagle says, rise above the noise. Don't allow yourself to become trapped inside someone else's version of the story. Maybe someone tells you this is impossible, but your Capricorn side will maybe ask, okay, what would it take? And then your Aquarius side says, like, what if we approach it completely differently? That's your natural soul energy, and you are here to see beyond the obvious, right? You are here to see beyond the obvious. You don't always need to fight every system, right? Sometimes your greatest power is simply seeing the system from above and then deciding what is actually worth keeping. All right, so before we explore your strength and your challenges, all right, what Spirit also wants to remind you of the beautiful energy that your soul naturally carries, all right? Your hidden gift. We've got here from the Gaia Oracle, jewel within a teardrop. Appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. The hidden gift that you need to embrace within yourselves. But remember, take what resonates, leave the rest, right? This is where also the reading becomes much softer, because beneath all the independence, there's a heart. This card suggests that one of your hidden gifts may be your capacity to reconnect with emotion after you've maybe spent too much time living from your head. Like Capricorns can become very focused on responsibility, but Aquarius can become focused on the ideas, the concepts, and the bigger picture. And then sometimes your emotions get placed somewhere at the bottom of the list. Maybe you tell yourself, I'll deal with that later. It's not that important. I need to stay strong. But your emotional will doesn't disappear just because you don't talk about it. And this is where the reading gets softer. Because here we're diving into the hidden gift, your hidden gift. All right. We have jewel within a teardrop. It says appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. It's because underneath all that independence, there's still heart. And this card, it suggests that one of your hidden gifts may actually be your capacity to reconnect with emotions after you spend maybe too much time living from your head. Capricorns can become focused on responsibility, where Aquarius can become focused on ideas, concepts, and the bigger picture. And then sometimes your emotions get placed somewhere at the bottom of the list, right? You might even tell yourself, maybe I'll deal with that later, or that is not important, I need to stay strong. But your emotional world doesn't disappear just because you don't talk about it. Sometimes it waits quietly. And then when you finally allow yourself to feel, something beautiful can happen. You reconnect with appreciation. You notice the people who genuinely do love you. You appreciate the simple things. You remember what actually matters. Maybe you've gone through periods where you've been so focused on surviving or achieving that you forget to stop and say, whoa, I actually have some beautiful things in my life. So this card says that you do have a sensitivity, and it isn't weakness. It's like your ability to appreciate life. It is a spiritual gift. And sometimes the strongest thing that a Capricorn, Aquarius, CUSP can do is let themselves care. Not about what everyone thinks, not about what society expects, but about what genuinely matters to your heart, to their hearts, all right? Yeah, and so sometimes our greatest gifts are the parts of ourselves that we've spent years trying to hide. And with that, let's dive into the tarot cards and dive deeper here. And with this is where we're looking at why do you as a Capricorn Aquarius cusper naturally experience life this way. All right. So here we have the Two of Pentacles. Let's get another card out here. We're going to get clarifiers out for each card so we get a bigger picture. This is like the multitasking mind I'm hearing. You may constantly have several things happening at once. The responsibilities, the ideas, the plans, conversations, future possibilities. And the moment maybe you finish one thing, your mind maybe is already moving towards the next thing. So Two of Pentacles is the energy of you trying to balance everything, and the Eight of Wands. The Two of Wands could be significant as well, right? Looking towards the next thing, and everything is moving then very quickly, all right? Eight of Wands is everything moving quickly. So this can create a particular experience, right? That you might look calm on the outside while internally your mind is going, okay, I need to do this, and then that, and then wait, and then what about that idea? Oh, I forgot about that, right? Because the Aquarius is naturally future orientated, right? The Two of Wands looking towards the next thing. But with Capricorn, the things about the practical outcomes, right? That your mind may constantly jump between the two. So what is happening now and what could happen next? You may also become restless when life feels stagnant for some of you. Like you need a little bit of movement, right? Eight of Wands is movement. You need something to work. You need something to work towards. You need some sort of intellectual stimulation, right? And when you don't have that, you can feel like you're slowly switching off. So maybe you be doing something completely normal, original. I don't know why I said normal, but original, all right? Like washing dishes. Well, it is normal, right? Washing dishes, driving, working. And then suddenly your brain creates a new idea that just changes how you want to approach your future. That is your mind, right? It's not always linear. It connects things, all right? It notices the patterns. It jumps ahead. But this can also mean that maybe you take a little bit too much on and start juggling. You may say yes to something, right? Because you know that you can handle it, all right? And then you realize like maybe you've given yourself 5 more things to manage, right? Yeah, because you do have the magic sometimes to handle it, right? But I'm hearing something about your lesson is not to stop being capable. It's maybe to stop assuming that because you can carry something that you automatically should, right? And obviously, again, this doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's just part of how your soul experiences the world. So what is your inner strength here for you that keeps you moving forward? So we have the Knight of Pentacles, right? This is that Capricorn energy of slow, steady, persistent, all right? Here's the Eight of Swords here. 8-8 could be very significant for some of you. This is very fascinating that your strength isn't always obvious, all right? Slow, steady, persistent, all right? But here's the Eight of Swords, which represents the mental limitation, maybe even a little bit of self-doubt, looping thoughts in your mind, all right? So maybe your strength may be that you keep moving even when your mind is telling you that you're stuck, all right? Or you may have moments where you question yourself really intensely, like, what if I fail? Or what if I make the wrong decision? What if I'm not ready? Or whatever the case is, all right? But unlike, and this is also a card of like, you're not really stuck, right? It's just thoughts that are looping in your mind, all right? But unlike someone who completely gives up when they doubt themselves, you quietly continue, right? You keep putting that one foot in front of the other, all right? You keep working, you keep learning, you keep trying, and eventually you look back and realize, like, wait, I actually made it much further than I thought, right? That's Capricorn. Aquarius adds another layer here, is that you may eventually realize that the limitations wasn't actually your ability, all right? It was maybe a belief that there was only one way to do it. Once you allow yourself to think differently, the path opens up a bit wider, right? And your strength is not always explosive. Sometimes it's simply just, I'm still here. And that's powerful. Like, your strength isn't measured by how many times life knocks you down. It's measured by how many times your soul chooses to rise again, right? So the biggest misunderstanding people have about you, my Capricorn, Aquarius, Cuspers, is the Eight of Cups. Maybe people think maybe you're someone that walks away easily, all right? But here's the Ace of Wands. Eight of Cups, Ace of Wands, all right? Because you don't, all right? You may walk away decisively once you've made that decision, but getting there can maybe take a bit of a while, a bit of a time, a long time. Eight of Cups shows leaving the things that no longer fulfill you emotionally, right? But the Ace of Wands is talking about that new spark waiting on the other side. So maybe people might say you've changed, or you just left, or you don't care anymore, whatever that is. But what they don't understand is that you may have been emotionally and mentally processing that decision for maybe quite some time, all right? A long time, all right? You don't necessarily leave because you don't care, but sometimes you do leave because maybe you finally care enough about yourself, putting yourself first, to stop staying somewhere or putting up with something that has become too small for you. It could be relationships or friendships, careers, just people in general, family expectations or old beliefs or outdated versions of yourself, right? Different situations for different parts of you, right? Everyone has their own lives and own stories, but it's something along the same line, right? You may tolerate something for surprisingly a long time, and one day you click, something clicks, right? And you've had enough. And once that internal switch happens, you can become incredibly difficult to pull back into that old version of yourself. People may call it sudden, but for you, the Eight of Cups is something that has been brewing for a while, all right? It wasn't sudden it wasn't all of a sudden. It was the end of a very long internal conversation, all right? I mean, we did have that Eight of Swords, all right? That internal, that loop that was going through your mind, all right? You were thinking about it for a while, it was looping. And one day it just clicks and you make that final decision and you walk away. The truth is that you're not someone that runs away from everything. You're always walking towards something that feels more alive, all right? When your intuition says enough is enough of this situation, you go somewhere else, right? To what actually sparks you. Okay, so your shadow side is we have the Seven of Pentacles. Let's get another one here. Five of Wands is Seven Pentacles, Five of Wands. Your shadow side can be something about questioning whether your investment is worth it while still refusing to let something go. Maybe you spend a long time maybe evaluating stuff, all right? We had the Eight of Swords, right? In your mind, all right? It's like the energy, even here, like, is it worth continuing? Am I actually getting anywhere? Should I change directions? The Five of Wands can cause also the inner conflict, all right? That there's a part of you that says, keep going, all right? But maybe another part of you says, why am I still doing this? Why am I still nurturing this seed, all right, these plants? And that can create a little bit of frustration because you may maybe compare yourself to others, all right, their journeys. You may look at someone else's process and things, why am I not here yet? Why hasn't this plant grown yet? You may become maybe overly competitive even with yourself. Okay? Doesn't have to be necessarily somebody else or other people. Maybe just with the version of yourself that you believe you should be wherever you need to be or be already there. All right? Maybe you think you should have achieved something more by now, or you believe that you should be further ahead. Maybe you just keep pushing because slowing down feels like failure. But again, the Seven of Pentacles, again, is the energy also of growth isn't always visible while it is happening. The seed doesn't look impressive before it becomes a tree, all right? You don't need to constantly dig it up, all right, the seed, to check if this plant is busy growing. And you don't need to turn your life into a competition, all right? Your path is your path. And, you know, the shadows come up just for a bit of healing, all right? It's something that's within you that needs to be healed. All right, so your superpower, your hidden superpower here, my Capricorn Aquarius, is we do have the strength, all right, strength card, all right? And here is the 10 of Wands. This one is quite a strong combination for you, all right? Is that your superpower I'm hearing is endurance, but not just endurance. It's the emotional and the spiritual strength under the pressure. That yes, you can carry a lot, all right? You may even be the person others look and think like, I don't know how you actually do this. Maybe you've probably survived some sort of situations that have changed you, like responsibilities, disappointments, pressure, or major life transitions, moments where you had to become stronger because there was no one else to do it for you, and yet you're still there. You made it to the finish line, all right? Strength says that your power isn't about dominating everything. It's about learning how to hold yourself together without becoming hard-hearted. The 10 of Wands says that you have carried heavy things. Life has been heavy sometimes. But the important thing is your superpower should not also become your prison. All right? Just because you are capable of carrying heavy things, it doesn't mean that you were meant to carry them forever. Your strength becomes truly powerful when you learn that I can carry this, but I don't have to. Maturity, right? Self-awareness. And that's that is a very powerful Capricorn Aquarius lesson, right? Your greatest strength isn't choosing also between your Capricorn and your Aquarius side, the two zodiac signs. It's allowing both parts of yourselves to work together. So let's dive in here and see this is the lesson that your spirit is busy teaching your soul, all right? Your spirit team teaching your soul. Six of Swords, moving to calmer waters, all right? Moving forward. Death, without dragging the old version of yourself with you. Six of Swords, right? It's time to move to calmer waters, rebirth, but something has to end for something new to begin. And this doesn't necessarily mean an external ending, all right? Sometimes the thing that needs to die is, it could be an identity. A version of you that always had to be strong. The version of you who needed everyone's approval. Perhaps it's a version of you who believed success had to look a certain way. The version of you who stayed because I've already invested too much, or you know, that kind of energy, because you are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to discover that something you once wanted isn't what you want anymore. You are allowed to become someone younger that your younger self wouldn't even recognize. That's not failure, it's growth. Capricorn teaches you how to build. Aquarius teaches you how to reinvent. So together they say, build again, but this time building something that actually belongs to you. So it isn't, again, about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more of who you've always been. And with that, we're looking at the final oracle from Spirit here, your final spiritual closing message here. We have Crystal Spring, all right? Purity flows from the source. Capricorn Aquarius, You don't have to prove your worth through how much you carry. You don't have to prove your intelligence by always having an answer. And you don't have to always prove your independence by refusing to need anyone. There is a softer place inside of you, a place beneath the responsibilities, beneath the plans, beneath the expectations, beneath the version of you that learned how to survive. That place is still pure, it's still curious, still capable of love, still capable of wonder. Right? Your eagle, the eagle here reminds you to rise above the noise and see the bigger picture. The jewel within a teardrop is that, like, you reminds you that your heart is not something to suppress. And your tarot cards here is just reminding you that sometimes the greatest transformation happens when you finally stop carrying what no longer belongs to you. You're allowed to change, you're allowed to question, you are allowed to build differently. You are allowed to walk away from what no longer feels true. You are allowed to create the life that doesn't look like everyone else's. You don't have to choose between being responsible and free. You don't have to choose between tradition and innovation. You don't have to choose between your head and your heart. You are learning how to bring them together. So I'm hearing, trust your perspective, trust your ability to rebuild, trust the part of you that sees possibilities other people haven't noticed. But most importantly, come back to yourself. Because the more you connect with who you are and your own truth, the less you need the world to tell you how you are supposed to be. Your soul already knows. Let it lead. So beautiful souls, tell me in the comments, which part of this reading hit you the hardest? Was it the part that maybe you carry too much or question the rules, walking away when you finally had enough? Or is it learning that you don't always have to be the strong one? Your story might just be exactly what another Capricorn Aquarius needs to hear today. So leave your experiences in the comments, beautiful souls. Like the video, subscribe, become part of the Mystical Soul Tribe, become part of our Soul Tribe here. And don't forget to check out your monthly and weekly messages, right? Bi-weekly messages here on the channel, because these readings these readings explore the energy surrounding the sun in a completely different way. And if you enjoyed this Soul Blueprints, right, the series that I'm busy with, make sure to check out the next one that will be coming up soon. And I mean, hey, these Soul Blueprints, they aren't really predictions. They're more about understanding who you are beneath the label. Because sometimes the most powerful question isn't what is going to happen to me. It's more about why am I like this and what is my soul teaching me about myself. And remember, my Capricorn Aquarius, you were never meant to simply follow the path someone else built. You were here to see further, to think differently, to build wisely. And when the old structures no longer fit, you have the courage to build something new. So beautiful souls, I'm sending you love and light, and I'll definitely check you around in the next one.